Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Tone Talk with Mark Uzansky and Dave Friedman. We've got an awesome guest today, Jen Majura of Evanescence. What's up, Jen?
Hey everybody, thanks for having me. Hello everybody. Hi.
Hey, Dave.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm
Jet
good.
lagged. I am jet lagged.
She's jet lagged. I just recovered from
Still.
COVID. We're a mess.
It's horrible. I don't know, like 2 years on the couch and 2 years of not touring haven't helped. And 2 years on my age card didn't really help to get over a jet lag. Back in 2019, I was just like 2 days back home and I'm like, all right, I'm happening
Snap back.
again. And
Snap
now
back.
it's like I'm back for a week and still like it's hard. It's so hard.
Well, that was a long tour, though. You were on tour for a while, right?
It was even longer than expected because I was supposed to be back in Germany on December 22nd or 23rd, something like that. But then we had to like interrupt the tour, reschedule the dates because of obvious reasons,
Mhm.
And
Someone caught COVID.
yeah, and it's just crazy because we went to Cincinnati, we went to the venue and we decided like we can't do this. We can't keep going. We have to like stop
Mhm.
this and better reschedule for everybody's safety, not only us and the tour bubble and the crew, but the fans and everybody. And I remember I was sitting in my hotel room and my tour manager called me and he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I said, "Okay, I was so traumatized by not being able to entering the country, not getting to the States.
Yeah.
I was like, no way I'm traveling back to Germany. I'm gonna
Right.
stay." And I stayed with a sweet, dear heart friend of mine, Travis Larson, who's a phenomenal guitar player, by the way, um, in California. And I called him. I was like, "Hey, could you pick me up tomorrow at the airport? I'm gonna stay with you for who knows how long." And then we rescheduled the dates. It was just 5 remaining dates, and yeah, and finished the tour successfully. I'm very proud of my band, of Amy, of the boys. I'm very proud of our crew, of everybody involved in this, making this happen. And then
Yeah.
I got back home last Sunday, and ever since then, I'm just like, I'm a walking zombie. It's just, it's impossible.
Sorry to hear that. Well,
Wow.
yeah, you'll snap back soon. You'll
I
be
hope
fine.
so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get all your gear set up, and then you'll start jamming.
Hopefully, and yeah.
Exactly. So,
Either that or you're sick of it after touring for a while.
How can you ever be sick of touring, honestly? You cannot get sick of touring.
well, I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-mm.
Not everyone.
I
does
think that'll never happen.
Yeah.
This production we had on this run was the biggest production Evanescence ever had, ever. And it was new, it was fresh, it was weird, it was giant, and I really enjoyed it. I keep saying, it's and I say that in a lot of interviews. Being on tour with Evanescence, I come from a mid-sized metal band European touring
Mhm.
world.
Mhm.
Ever since I got the gig with Evanescence in 2015, touring is more like it's more like this grand, awesome vacation with your best friends, and then you get on top of that, you get to play these awesome shows.
Right.
So I don't see this as work, or of course it's work, but it's not work. It's
Right.
it's more
It's
like a
fun. Yeah.
fun travel time, and yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I will never get sick of touring. Never, ever.
You're
Dream.
not in a van with a bunch of people
No.
traveling
That's
from
right.
club to club or theater to theater
No. Although I
without.
know that.
Yeah,
I even know, like,
You've done it.
traveling to the gigs with my own car, loading all the gear into the car,
Mhm.
driving for 20 hours, like, getting out of the car, doing sound check, and then there's no time for dinner, but you have to play the show, and then after the show, you run for your money to the promoter, and I remember all of that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I started, so
Right.
I get that, and to get into the professional business, I was working as a guitar tech, I was working as a stagehand, I was working as a tour manager, merchandiser, like I've done all that. So I believe that this gives me really a position of, even more appreciating what I have and what I'm
Yeah.
allowed to experience right now.
And you know how it all works too.
Right.
No one can pull any
Yeah.
wool over your eyes on that one.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? You pay your
I
dues,
know.
and then hopefully your dream come true, right? And then you get to play in a great band like that. So
Right. Yeah.
that's fantastic. How'd you get into Synergy?
Okay. I was working with Engel amps for 17 years of my life, and I was playing this German giant metal festival called Wacken, and Engel approached me, and I was always happy with them. But then after 17 years, I felt like I want to, I want to change for me as a person and a musician. I just felt like it's time for a change.
Mm.
And I was talking to different amp companies, and Synergy were like really interesting for me. And to be really honest, I first thought this must be bullshit. This, the first time I looked at the whole thing, because we scheduled an appointment and we met, and I walk into this amp room and I see all these amps, and there's the Synergy section. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And there you have a power head with 2 holes in it. How is this supposed to sound great, right? It's like it's got 2 holes in it. And I'm like, this is not gonna. I was super skeptical. And to be honest, I first thought, because I used the HBE and the BBBE modules,
Mm-hmm.
and I first thought, honestly, that I would probably go with Dietzel. That was my original thought. And I started checking out the VH4, and I was like, not really. And then I checked all the other modules, and because the I don't know if everybody is familiar with the way Synergy amps work. So they have like exchangeable preamp modules. So you have a power section, which is, it's just a power section, a power head, or, and then you exchange the preamp modules. And I was honestly very fascinated that it actually works. Yes, exactly. There you go. I was like, how is this possible? Because for me, it's stupid, I know. But for me, I saw an amp with a hole in it, and I'm like, this can't be good. It's an amp head with a fucking hole in it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But as soon as I plugged it in, and I had all the different modules to check it out, and I have to say that it was convincing. It was like I plugged in and I was like, oh my God, this really works, and it feels good to play.
Exactly.
I don't care how much an amp costs, and I don't care about the styles and the looks, and I need to feel good when I play it. And what I really want is like the direct reaction of the amp and the cab and everything. And they took a lot of time to spend with me, just to like, for me to be able to like go through all the different modules and just check their gear out. Pretty much the deal was done the day I checked it out, because I just fell in love with their opportunities. Plus, I mean, on top of that, you have to see that synergy with, I mean, we all know it's not new, right? I mean,
Right,
Randall
right.
came up with that like ages ago.
Yeah,
But
actually, the lineage of it was
Egnater.
Bruce Egnater
yes,
came up with it,
exactly.
and he had his own versions of it, and then sold the license to Randall,
Exactly.
and
But
now Synergy, and now the updated versions of things.
right, exactly. And I must say, I think the concept is really, like, for me, the best mixture to walk between the modern and the old analog way. I'm still flexible. I am not a big fan of modelers.
Mhm.
I'm not. I use the Helix Line 6 Helix pedal board, but I run it through just the FX channel, just like for effects and stuff.
For effects, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe call it old school. I just love a good tube amp sound, and Synergy was just a very convincing model and idea for me to exist in Evanescence, which is high gain
Mhm.
riffing music. It's just like gong 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 gong. And then my solo stuff, like I have 2 solo albums that they don't sound like Evanescence, and
Mhm.
I work a lot of with dynamics, and it's more hard rock than the really heavy chunky riffing thing. And this is when I really realized that all that, especially the HBE sound, is just perfect, because I love it's very dynamic, and it works for my solo music perfectly. But I realized it also works for the chunky Evanescence stuff.
Mhm.
And Yeah, that's
Are
it.
are you rolling the volume knob back to kind of clean things up? And yeah, it's really responsive. I've got the Sin 50 head,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
also in a rack. I've got the Sin 2.
Yeah, I got 2 rack versions for the Evanescence stuff, and I
Yeah, I
got
saw
a
that rack.
30-watt hat here at home for clinics because 30 watts is a lot. It's
Mhm.
totally enough for me to play clinics.
Yeah. So when you're running the Helix, is it in 4-cable method or
Yeah.
just in? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So are you running anything in front? Also, some effects in front of the amp. And
Okay, here's the story with me and effects. First Evanescence rehearsal ever, 2015. I come from playing in an AC/DC tribute band. I was the Angus. I had no pedals at all. I didn't even have the "Nom, nom, 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 I feel nice" delay for solos. I had nothing. It
right,
was
dry.
honestly
Yeah.
nothing. There was a super dry sound. The only thing that I connected that was in between my guitar and the amp was a tuner. I had a MIDI booster for the solos, which every front of house guy was like, your solo sound is not nice enough. And I'm like, that's what it is. Just boost me. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And I remember that I was standing in this room. We have our headquarter in Nashville at SIR. And, almost after every song, somebody walked up to me and was like, oh, well, for this song, you need a chorus. Wow, got you a chorus pedal. For the next song, you need a flanger. All right, flanger. Hey, you definitely need a delay here. At the end of this day, I had this battery of pedals standing in front of me, and I remember we play one song. It's called "The Change," and I was supposed to jump on 3 pedals at the same time and keep playing. And I'm like, dude, this is possible. This is like not what I do. I just can't. I mean,
Right.
there are guitar players out there who are great with the pedal dance.
Mhm.
Awesome. That's awesome. But I can't. And this is not my life.
It's got to be
So-
set up.
And then I just talked to the Line 6 guys. I'm like, guys, you have to come up with something. Help me. And it was pretty much the year when they came up with the Helix. So I was probably one of the first Helix endorsees out there. And it made my life so much easier because it's just, I've never been a real pedal.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm actually a Switch believer now. I don't know how Dave
Oh.
feels about it, but for me, I just got the Helix effects.
I had that device too, but
and
then I don't know. I missed the expression pedal and it was limited.
It's
So
limited. It's kind of like my entry, like my little appetizer into it. Yeah, or the HX Stomp. Yeah.
I'm a fan of this one. This one saved me on tour because it travels in my wardrobe case. So for warming up, I use this. I used it for recording guest solo spots in my hotel room, and so I'm a big HX Stomp fan.
Cool. Yeah, but but just using the effects, I do it in 4K
Yes.
method. It's really cool. I mean, I'm like, it's close. It's so close.
Yeah.
I don't know if, I mean, I was comparing it to some friends. I did a little video and just, here's a flanger on the Helix and here's a flanger pedal
Right.
through the front of the amp. How does it sound? And they were like, both of them sound good to me, so.
It's close. And maybe it's just me being old school or me being obsessed with, analog stuff. But I always feel like there's this digital sizzling in
Yeah,
whatever
there
I
is. Yeah.
use in modeling. It's like that's
it's
why
cool.
definitely I'm a big fan of like tube amps. I
Uh-huh.
don't know what's the difference for real. Like, of course I know, but it's a whole different ballgame when you stand on a stage and you have this power of a heated up, ready to go tube amp firing from your back. Like, it's just a different feeling. And I love it. And as long as I have a guitar tech who carries my shit.
Yeah, and regardless, even regardless if you're using in-ears, you're still feeling
Exactly.
the thing behind you,
Exactly.
And I think if you take that away, isn't some of the rock missing? You know what I mean?
For me,
it's like
for me, yes.
It's like when you see a band that has no backline and it's all direct, there's something missing.
I know exactly what you
just
mean,
like-
and I agree 100,000%.
like-
Yes.
I've seen it too before, where you see a multi-band bill, and some are using amps, and some are using all direct,
Yeah.
modelers or something, and there's a big difference.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
you see the band, and you're like, "Wow, that was great." The other one comes on, you're like,
Exactly.
okay.
It just it's hard to describe because you cannot really describe it. But like you said, there's something missing, and it gives the depth, the warmth, the mighty power of a life experience to the whole performance. I don't know. We did another tour with orchestra in 2018, 2019 when we toured our album Synthesis. And we were literally merged into an orchestra, and I literally just played through the helix.
Yeah.
It was different. It was just different. That was missing. And it's just the mighty balls that I miss. Oops.
No, you can
I
say
just
balls.
it's just that feeling that I miss when I don't have a tube amp.
Yeah.
And I tried. Honestly, I tried. My production manager made me try for ever to just like travel with a modular and like travel light, forget about the cabs on stage, just go direct. And
Nah.
I just don't like it. I just don't like
Plus,
it.
what you also said is about the feel, right? You're on stage, you want to be able to have that feeling that that it's a real amp, and
Exactly.
Well, you can also get feedback if you'd like, or you want to use
Honestly,
it. You can lean into the cabinet, and you could get it, and that's exciting.
Right.
You can do that and feel great about it's stupid to say that, but you can feel great about yourself because you created this effect, this sound, this feedback, this moment. I have a friend, I'm not mentioning his name, but he's playing in a very big band. But he's also one of the guys who uses modeling things, and he had his guitar tech even program a feedback to certain spots in the set list. And I said to him, like, don't you feel like a stupid clown? You turn around, you face your cab, and you go like, oh, I'm so good, I'm making this feedback, and all that happens is your fucking guitar tech pushes a button. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? I don't understand it.
It's yeah. They also have pedals that do that now.
I
right?
know.
The
So wrong.
frequency.
Yeah, or you go to all this trouble to have this modeling rig, and then you decide, maybe I'll have a monitor in front of me that I can swell it in so I can get feedback, and then you're back to having a cab, and it's
right.
Yeah, the real deal is just the best. And even my guitar tech, because with this past tour that we just finished, we had a lot of like, I don't want to call it choreography, but it was like walking a lot up the risers and stand here on that X and be there on that time, and in that song play this part on that riser. And my guitar tech, Tyler Dragnes, who I love, he was like, well, I can switch for you. And I said, no, I don't want that. I at least want to have like we switched from the Helix floor pedal version to the MIDI controller because of the rack version now. And it's even weird for me that I don't have the control of like, if something would go wrong, I cannot like fix it because I just have a MIDI controller. And I don't like that. And I trust him 100%. He's doing a fabulous job. But when he was like, well, I can switch for you so you don't have to run back to your MIDI controller and run back to the riser or whatever. And I said, no, I don't want that, because for me personally, maybe, oh God, I come across so old school. But for me, I have to feel the moment, the switching. It's part of my job. It's not part of my guitar tech's job to create a feedback or switch a channel. This is part of being a guitar player. You're responsible for the sounds that you play, and you have to switch them. I would never, ever do that. I'd rather, not jump on the riser. And just
you can put
get
another
sounds.
MIDI controller up in the other spot.
Yeah, no. We talked about that, but how about no?
That's another solution, Dave. That's right.
Yeah. I've done rigs for a living, so this is all my life. So yeah.
Troy, our other guitar player, he plays an analog old pedal board with a lot of like effects and stuff on there. And he was getting confused with how am I supposed to switch, because he plays way more than I do.
Mhm.
I literally play a lot of the riffs, and
Mhm.
he's got all the solo sounds, all the different delays and fuzz and all the stuff going on.
Mm.
And he was like, I cannot jump up here and run down and just switch at the same time. So they came up with this decision that their guitar, Troy's guitar tech, he's going to switch for him. And I remember a conversation with Troy where he was like completely, he was feeling weird. It's odd when you walk on stage and there's no wedges, there's no pedal board, there's nothing. It's an empty stage, and you just perform, and out of a sudden your sound changes for
Yeah.
for the solo, or and you
That's
have to
weird.
trust your guitar tech 1,000% to
They hit
know
it
the songs,
dead
do
on.
everything right, because it's you on stage and you play and it's your face and your band, but the guitar tech is in charge of switching amps and sounds and effects and stuff. And it's not that I don't trust my guitar tech, but I feel like it's my job to do that, and I don't want to.
And too
I
much
don't
can
want to
go.
have
Too much can
somebody
go
else do that.
wrong.
Well, I can
It's a way,
switch wrong
though.
too.
I mean, everyone does that, It's
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell doesn't switch anything.
I know so many of those
know?
guys who don't switch anymore. I know, but I think it's just
But he
weird.
uses real amps.
True.
Yeah, he uses real amps, that's for sure. Hey, we have a super chat from L Scott Music. Hey Jen, so glad you made it here. For your synergy modules, check out Burns Cases. Store 4 modules in a TSA case.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
Scott, thank you so much. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I have one over here.
Nice.
I can grab it.
Can you show it?
Yeah, sure. 1 second. Hopefully I won't break anything.
Ooh, oh, I like the style.
Yeah, a little
nice.
stripy.
But yeah,
cool. You can it has a cover also. I took the cover off, but yeah, you can put it in.
Nice.
It's a little Pelican kind of.
Yeah, it's right.
But he makes like the thing for it, like the sliders, whatever, so it fits perfectly.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a cool thing. Yeah.
I mean, I have to honestly say the only module that I sent most of the stuff back to Synergy, because I'm like, I'm super happy with the HPE, and it provides everything that I need for my clinics and my solo music. And with Evanescence, of course, that's a whole different ballgame. But here right now, I travel with this one little tiny 30-watt amp head, and
right, that's great. Yeah, that thing works great. So I read on Wikipedia, and of course that has to be right.
Of course. Okay, what
I have no
lie?
idea where this
Let's
is going.
discuss.
No, it said you started playing at 6. So is that true?
Actually, 4.
4. Wow.
Yeah. But piano.
Oh, okay.
So my dad was always obsessed with turning me into this, classic piano player. And I don't know. I couldn't read notes. I couldn't sight read, and I was playing everything, by listening by ear. And I got fired. They didn't want to teach me. And I was like, you know what? I have to sit still. I can't jump around, and I'm a very high energetic person, so I wanted to run around and headbang and do shit, and I was like, okay, this is not my instrument.
Right.
I still play the piano. I love playing the piano because you compose different on different instruments, and when I play the piano, I compose definitely in a complete different way, different chord progressions, because your hands play different. And also, I think piano is a very, very interesting and very important instrument to learn music theory, because it's just so much clearer on a piano instead of like a 2-dimensional instrument like a guitar. But yeah, at the age of 6, I was like, I want to play electric guitar. And my dad, of course, was like, oh no. And but I got a very cheap pink colored Hohner. I don't even know if they still exist. They usually make like those guitar, and this guitar was shit. It was unplayable. It was shit.
Horrible. Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. But it was pink, and I was a little girl, so I loved the color pink. And yeah. And then pretty much I got my first real guitar. I think I was 9 years old, something like 9 or 10 years, and I got a white Fender Strat, of course. What else? It's
Right.
kind of like the ultimate beginner guitar. Although by now, when students, I own a music school, and when students ask me for a beginner guitar, most of the time I'm recommending the Yamaha Pacificas because the price and what you get and everything, that the whole deal is like really, really good.
Hmm.
And yeah, Yamaha, or also like some of the cheaper RG models from Ibanez. I have to say that because I'm an Ibanez endorsee, but honestly, the Yamaha. And anyway, so I
And
started
now
playing the
she's not an
guitar.
Ibanez endorsee anymore.
Now you lost the gig, goddammit. And
Well,
I
for a
start,
beginner guitar, it's what's the best buy, right? What's the best, and also
yeah.
what works. Yeah.
Plus,
Definitely.
you don't want to buy your kid a $5,000 PRS
No.
when it's not, it's
No.
who knows? Maybe next year it's going to be football or tennis or.
And then their
So,
and their first guitar, having a Floyd would be pretty tough too. Yeah.
well, mine had a Floyd, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
Thank God. Maybe that's why I go crazy on the Floyd right now. I don't know. Yeah, and ever since then, I don't know. That was my big love. I was like, this is my instrument. This is how I can express myself. This is how I feel comfortable. This is how I love to spend my time.
And
That's
then,
it.
but I also saw that you played bass as well. So was that
Come
just
on.
really just as a side thing, or just
What guitar player doesn't play bass? Huh?
Yeah,
Good point.
that's true.
It's every guitar player knows kind of how to play the bass, but I played in a band for a year, and I remember it was 2020, was it 2014? It was definitely before Evanescence, and we have this awesome festival here in Germany called Rock Hearts. It's one of my favorite festivals. A friend of mine is the promoter, and he invited me, and I got there, and also I played with two bands. On Friday, I was a guitar player. No, on Friday, I was a bass player, and on Saturday, I was a guitar player. And that was stressful because playing two completely different gigs, like literally one on Friday, one on Saturday, I realized a bass player does listen different. Your monitor mix is a whole different ball game. You pay attention to hi-hat, bass drum, kick stuff. And as a guitar player, you listen to, not that it's not important, but you feel different, you move different, your attention is different. And I was like, no, guys, I can't do this anymore because I am not a bass player. I'm a guitar player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
So,
curious.
yes, I play a little bit of bass. I play a little bit of, piano, a little bit of drums, a little bit of saxophone, flute, all kinds of stuff.
So
I think knowing a lot of instruments and how they work and what their range is helps you composing in a lot of ways and understanding the instrument. When everybody sort of does that, it programs drums and stuff. So that certain moves that might sound great are for a physical human flesh and blood drummer are not possible.
Right.
And you only understand that when you understand a little bit of the physics of the instrument. So, yeah.
That's great. Being a well-rounded musician. So who are some of your influences?
God, I hate this question.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked it.
No, all good. Well, okay, it started all out. I was a tiny little young girl, and I loved Bon Jovi. So Richie Sambora is one of the first guitar players that I paid attention to. And after I could play every Bon Jovi guitar solo that there was on planet Earth, I was like, okay, let's move on and find other guitar players. And then I pretty much fast discovered Steve Vai. He's a major deal in my life. I have, I don't have it here right now, but I have the Blue Floor Patent Jam. I have my Pia, which I literally finally got, and his swirl paint guy, David Bonvillian. I love you guys.
Oh, wow.
He made this Pia look like fantastic, but it's actually, I don't know where it is right now. So I played it on this tour for a couple of songs, and now it's either in Nashville or in Newark. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's on a truck. Maybe it's on a ship. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll find out.
You'll be
we'll find
with it
out.
at some point.
Definitely. So Steve Vai was a big influence, and over the years, I got inspired by mostly players that tend to be innovative. not just because they shred fast. I've never been a fan of like fast shredding. But I've been super touched by guitar players like, of course, Guthrie. I mean, Guthrie is just, no words can tell. I'm super lucky to call him a friend, and he's amazing. Mattias Ia Eklund from the Swedish band Freak Kitchen. He was one of the, if not the most inspirational guitar player in my music, because as a human and a musician, he has a lot of wisdom and a lot of innovative things to say and play, and I love his playing, and I think that he probably influenced me the most. Steve Vai and Matthias, I guess. I don't know. And of course, Nuno Bettencourt. I just have to say that, Nuno Bettencourt, because I've always have to mention that in every interview. And recently, a couple of weeks ago, he agreed to go on a dinner with me, because I keep saying for 30 years that he's the only man in my life, and now he finally agreed to go on a dinner with me. Okay,
awesome.
Moving on.
I'm a big fan of Nuno. I think
he's fantastic.
His playing is, it's.
You know what I love the most about him is that he is a guitar player. Of course he can shred. Of course he can go like, ah! But he plays what the song demands and the music demands. And there are too many guitar players out there that just, cover the whole song, music, everything with just showing off. And I've never been a player like that. And Nuno is a guy who plays for the sake of the song instead of the sake of showing off.
Right.
And he's got a very delicate mixture of playing very percussive, and he has a great vibrato and a great tone, and he's just like really like he's in your face when he plays. So I love that. It's like really honest playing, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of VH, Van Halen. So
right.
And he's really influenced by Van Halen also.
Of course.
I can hear a lot of that. True. Right. Exactly.
I met Eddie. I was lucky enough to meet him. One of my Ibanez RG450s has a signature. And I know that Eddie was not a big fan of like signing stuff, but I have a signature on the head of my guitar. It's, Nashville or Newark, who knows, somewhere there. And he was coming out to see a show, and we played at the Greek a couple of years ago. And I remember I was joining the opening act, Cellogram, for one song. We played Kashmir, just rocking out, and I was getting ready, had my ears in, and I was like with my guitar and walking past Amy's dressing room, and I looked into the room and there was Eddie Van Halen, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Eddie Van Halen. I can't possibly go on stage and play that song and he'll be gone by then. And they already started the song. So I was like, I'm in a hurry. What am I going to do now? So I walked into the dressing room and really rudely interrupted their conversation. I'm like, hi, I'm a biggest fan of yours. You're amazing. Could you sign this guitar? And he was looking at me like, who are you? And he signed my guitar. And then I walked on stage, played that gig, like the one song. And then afterwards I got off stage and I looked at my guitar. I'm like, this really happened. Oh my God. I was in the room with Eddie Van Halen, and he signed my guitar. Oh my God.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
My friend Jeff Waters, he's so jealous. He's the biggest Eddie Van Halen fan that I know. He has everything. He has an Eddie Van Halen fridge in his studio. Like, he's crazy about Eddie Van Halen, and he's so jealous about the signature.
That's nice. Yeah, I've talked about, like, I'm such a fan that had I met him before he passed, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know how I would have acted.
It was weird. I tell you, the day was so weird because Troy, my guitar player in Evanescence, my buddy, and I, we sat like kind of like outside, and we kind of heard that Edward Van Halen is on the guest list and he's about to come to the show. But come on, honestly, really? You go like, yeah, of course. Right. Yeah, that guy will never show up. Come on. And we sat outside, and I remember there was a big Hummer driving and parking, and there was a driver coming out of the car, like standing there with like, a tie and a hat and sunglasses. And Troy and I sat there like little kids. We were like, that's Eddie. That's Eddie. Eddie's coming to the show. That's Eddie. That's Eddie. It was nerve-wracking and awesome to know that he was there. And another friend of mine, Courtney Cox from the Iron Maidens, she was there. And I remember that she texted me. I was not even on stage for that evening, and she was like, oh my motherfucking God, there's Eddie Van Halen sitting in front of me. And I'm like, all right, Eddie's here. pretty cool.
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we love Ed.
Yep.
So just 1 second, I want to remind everybody, check out Sweetwater. They sponsor our show. We have an affiliate link below. If you guys want to buy anything from Sweetwater, make sure you check the link out. And we get a little commission back on that, but the price remains the same for you guys. Nothing goes up or anything like that. So please purchase from Sweetwater. Also, I wanted to say hi to all of Jen's fans out there. She's got a bunch of different fan clubs out there, so wanted to say hi to them as well. So I see you guys in the chat. So and if
any of you want to hit subscribe to our channel.
Exactly. Please do that.
And see some other cool videos with some artists and different things.
Yep. So let me look to see.
Could I buy a do you know the noise gate cock blocker?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Can I buy that on Sweetwater?
No, I don't think so.
I have to talk to Glenn. He has to change this because this is one of the best noise gates I've ever used in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah. It's the first noise gate that really works like a dynamic musical noise gate instead of like just like this typical cuffing that you play a note and you're like and I mean they become better as time moves on, but the cock blocker, the noise gate that Glenn came up with is fantastic. He gave me one and we made a video, and it's really a fantastic noise gate.
Huh.
I haven't heard it yet. I'll have to check it out.
Me either. That's cool.
Absolutely. It's fantastic.
I know he had a whole issue with Reverb that wouldn't sell it.
Damn it.
I remember. Yeah, they pulled it. I think they had it on there and they didn't allow it or something like that. And the same with the pussy melter. Sorry for everybody. Have you heard that pedal too? That was from the guy from
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm a girl. I'm a female electric guitar player. What do you think? Of course I know about it.
All right. Sorry. Went too far.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily going too far. The question is, were you offended by it?
By the pussy melter?
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, it's Steel Panther.
It's Steel Panther. So
you have to be offended by the whole band and the whole idea that they portray with their thing and art. And I don't want to make a joke about this, but the guys are phenomenal musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the music and the songs, even like the songwriting is great. It's just,
it's the shtick. That's the thing. Yep.
Yeah, so I would probably not play a pedal with that name. I would play a cock blocker at any time, though.
I can't say I've ever been a fan of. I've not been a fan of people who have been a cock blocker, though. So,
what is happening?
Going down
it's going down a long path. So, yeah. Anyway, make sure you guys check out.
You want to take a look into the chat and find some questions because I told everybody to prepare their nerdy questions. So
yeah, there's questions here. Kenneth Davis.
Hi, Kenneth.
Did you try a Pop-Tart while you were on tour?
Okay, so here's the thing. I was very active on YouTube for the past 2 years during the pandemic. I did the incredible 1 minute jams. For those of you who don't know the 1 minute jams, check them out. They're on my YouTube channel where I invited several awesome, famously worldwide known musicians just to join me for a cover song, like an 80s disco pop, fun, rock, whatever song. And I had guys like Nico McBrain, Mike Portnoy, Richie Kotzen, Billy Sheehan, I don't know, the list is endless. Alex Skolnick, endless. And Kenneth was always in the live chats, and he somehow managed to like turn the entire conversation into Pop-Tart things. So no, Kenneth, I was in the States for 3 months and I have not tried any Pop-Tarts. We usually have Pop-Tarts in our tour bus, but I don't know. We had mac and cheese this time, no Pop-Tart. So sorry.
Oh well.
Funny you pick exactly this question.
We have a question from Majura Talia.
Simona.
What's your least favorite instrument to play?
Ooh. Oh, good one. Simona runs my Italian fan club, and she was the first fan club out there. Appreciate her. The least favorite. I don't know. I think no. Maybe the saxophone, because it's really different. It's because it's a brass instrument, and it's like, yeah, every time I practice, like my entire face hurts, and I'm good with when my fingertips hurt, like, or my shoulders and my back. Okay, all right, but when your jaw and your face hurts from playing an instrument, that's weird. So I guess saxophone.
How'd you pick up the saxophone?
Why not?
Okay. Why not?
See? And I did this 1 minute jam together with Alex Skolnick and Mike Mangini, and I said, well, we're gonna play Sir Duke, and I'm gonna play the fucking intro. Do I know how to play saxophone? No. Am I gonna play it? Yeah. So I took a lesson, literally, because I couldn't really play it, and I took a lesson, and learned how to play the intro for Sir Duke. And that's awesome. Literally the only thing that I can play on that song.
That's funny. This is a great comment from Jordana Ouellette. You're inspiring my 6-year-old niece. She looks up to Amy and now wants to play guitar because Jen is cool. She also asked to shave the sides of her hair.
No.
Strawberry.
Okay, this is strawberry squad material right here. I love her little niece because I sent her happy birthday wishes, and Jordana is a longtime Evanescence fan and quickly became a fan of me when I joined the band. And she did the sweetest thing, Jordana. I have to tell that. So I was stuck in California over the holidays and New Year's, and far away from my parents, my family, and the home. And her and Lindsay Schoolcraft from, Lindsay and I she's a fantastic harp player. She did a 1 minute jam together with Jennifer Batten. And they created this beautiful video where they reach out to all kinds of like colleagues and friends of mine to collect video messages just to let me know that I'm not alone, over Christmas when you're so far away from home. I watched it and I cried for hours. So thank you, Jordana, for that. Thank you so much. And absolutely do not allow your niece to shave her head.
I get the feeling she might anyway.
Who knows? But if she does it, do it on both sides, because I remember in 13, 14, I had a side cut where only one side was shaved. Growing that out was the worst time of my life. It was so hard. So if you do it, which you hopefully don't, do both sides. I think I'm growing it out right now. Like I think I'm, that was a quite cool look for quite a while, but maybe I should get puffy again and get like my hair back. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I'm sorry.
I think it looks good.
Thank you.
Valeria Soto, how did your killer and badass Pia perform? Feeling tone-wise, anything that grabbed your attention compared to your gem now that you played both of them live? Great question.
Oh, Valeria. Valeria runs Majura Chile. Okay, I've never talked about this, but I took the Pia with me for this tour for her ever first live performances. And we have this awesome song that we perform called Lose Control. And I have to admit, I didn't know the song before it was on the set list. Then I first listened to it and I'm like, okay, it's a riffing song, it goes like gong, 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 gong. I'm like, okay, I can play this on the Pia. And when we all gathered for rehearsal in Nashville, Amy was like, "Oh, there's this crazy part." So in the mix on the album, this crazy part was all the way mixed to the back. So I didn't pay attention to it. I was like, okay, this is just an effect rolling in the back. And she's like, no, you have to play this. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is like dive bombs and like harmonics and pitch and, pick scraps and shit. Like, I'm like, really? And she said, yeah. So I was absolutely determined to use the Pia for this one, and they even made me walk up to the highest riser for this solo, and I was like, okay, let's put this guitar to the test. Like, what can she actually do? And I have to say, the harmonics, like the way the pickups react to the strings, it's phenomenal. It's whenever you play like a lot of, like, you do the dive bomb thing, and you go like, you always during a live situation have this moment of like, will it work?
Right.
Every single time, because you have to stand still and find the millimeter of like exactly where to put your fingers, and then still do you use the pick in the right angle, and stuff like that makes you nervous. So I was very, very nervous, and most of the times, I don't know, at least for me, when I do live performances, I feel like I'm giving way too much, like, I mean, movement wise, when it comes to stuff like that. And I was a little bit nervous, but it sounded fantastic. It has a beautiful variety of clearance and tones. I just really love that guitar. I mean, literally the only problem I had with my Pia was in the beginning, I was like, okay, you know how cool it looks when you hold your guitar on your whammy bar and you just go like, ooh.
Right.
So I
You
did
can't
that,
do
but
now.
yeah, no, I forgot that the cable wasn't long enough.
Oh,
So right during the first times when I did that solo spot on the top riser, I was like, yeah, unplugged. And I'm like, this is great. Not. And so we changed the system, we got it a pack on the bell and everything. So everything was fine. But that was the only problem I had with the guitar. And also, I love to, like, push down the whammy bar and just hold the guitar neck to the front until the strings literally hang loose.
right, rapping. Yeah,
And of course, after you do something like that, you're like, okay, will my guitar be in tune? Not once out of tune. Not once. So I'm really, really happy with my Pia, and I can't wait to see her again. And I hope she's doing fine wherever she is right now.
Yeah, I saw them when they came out at NAMM, and I was like, wow, these are gorgeous. They really
I mean,
are.
honestly, the colors.
I like the white one.
The white. This is what I got. I had the
Okay.
white Pia, but then I got Dave do
swirl
the phenomenal paint job on it. Because could you picture yourself with a envy green guitar?
No,
Nah.
it's not for me.
Right?
No, yeah, or all gold, yeah, or whatever the other colors were. But the white
Gold,
one's really.
pink, and envy green.
Steve likes his green.
He does.
I mean, those guitars are perfect for Steve. Have you guys seen the new guitar that Steve is showing these days on social media?
I saw it's on the cover of Guitar World, right? Yeah.
I saw the prototype of this guitar.
Oh, really?
Years ago, when I went to see the LA custom shop for Ibanez, and we went into this room, and there was a wooden prototype of that guitar. It was different. I'm not allowed to talk about this, but I saw it, and when I saw the cover of guitar, I was like, this is the guitar. It's just modified a little bit more, a little bit easier, a little, it's crazy to say, but a little less necks.
A little less necks.
It's honestly, it's less necks.
How many necks does that thing have? I forget. I have to look. I haven't seen it.
I got to look at the cover.
I think the prototype had like 7.
Wow, it's crazy.
It was crazy, and yeah, it was crazy.
So what's the plan now? We were talking about this yesterday, but maybe you can tell folks, coming up tours and stuff like that for you guys.
We're gonna see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think ever since this pandemic COVID situation happened with planet Earth, everything became really unpredictable, and you cannot say right now whether things are happening in, I don't know, even in 2 weeks. It's hard to say that. So I'm just sitting here. I'm happy to be back home in Germany. I am redoing my studio, which is kind of exciting. Yeah, and wait for things to come. I really don't know. Maybe I should probably finally kick my own lazy butt and start writing my 3rd solo album.
There you go.
There you go. That
I
never
know.
hurts. Plexico, thanks for the super chat. Kind of early. Jen, what's the most creative tool in your arsenal? Pedal, amp, guitar, or is it Dave?
Dave, of course it's Dave. What kind of question is that? I feel like there's a point to it. Every instrument has a kind of inspiration. Like I said, I would write different on a piano than, I mean, I don't write songs on drums, but playing a guitar and a specific guitar, I would play different on a 7-string than I do, for example, on my Pia. So I think probably guitar, and also I have to say, like, the Helix pedal board it's just a fucking workstation. Like, the sounds and effects those guys come up with, it's ridiculous and fantastic. So I guess it's a mixture of Dave, of course, and a little bit of guitar and pedal board, but mainly Dave.
Mainly Dave, yeah. Valeria Soto, first and easiest question: thoughts on Steve's new album?
Oh God, I come across like an asshole now. I haven't heard it yet.
I haven't heard it either. So
I haven't either.
Thank God, I'm not the only one. I haven't heard it yet.
I just haven't had the chance to check it out yet. Yeah.
I have it downloaded already. I bought it, but the thing is, I don't like to check out new music when my mind is not there. I like to really dive into stuff and hear every little tiny thing on the album. And I feel like with this stupid jet lag that seems to last forever, I'm like just not there yet. So, but maybe I should slowly dive in. Maybe that'll help me to get out of the jet lag.
Could be.
Could be, yeah. By the way, I think you were talking about Guthrie Govan, not Guthrie Trapp.
No, Guthrie Govan.
Yes.
Definitely Guthrie Govan.
Guthrie Trapp is a great player too, but completely different. Have you ever heard
Very
Guthrie
different.
Trapp? Very different players.
Yeah.
L. Scott says he knows you're a fan of Phil X.
We met at NAMM, of course. Where else? And honestly, that's pretty much it. I don't know. We are not friends. I mean, no.
Gotcha.
I know him, and I think highly of him, and he knows me, and hopefully the same way back. But it's not like we're on a phone chat or a call every day. So, no.
Gotcha. Here's another question for you from Majura Italia. Do you think you've been a mentor to someone during your career?
Those guys come up with great questions, honestly. I think as soon as you reach well, this is a good question. First of all, yes, the answer is definitely yes. As soon as you reach a level in your career where you realize that you have a voice that's being heard by people, you should definitely use it wisely. And you should not only use it for self-promotion and showing off and letting everybody know how great you are. In my world, having that voice that people listen to is mainly about spreading positive energies, making people understand that life is good. The glass is half full, not half empty. Make them realize to be grateful for a lot of things that happen in life, in everyone's life, whether you are the guitar player of Evanescence or you just go into university or you're just a worker at a grocery store. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of stuff happening in everybody's life, what you can be grateful for, and I just like to raise the awareness of people realizing positive energies and realizing that being grateful is a great feeling, you know. And wow, this is such a oh God, what an answer. But definitely to answer Simona's question,
It's a great answer.
Thank you. I believe that I made an impact for some people's way of thinking, maybe, and inspired maybe some people to pick up the guitar and start diving into music and learning to dive into this passion which might help them. And I couldn't be prouder. I'm so proud and happy for everybody who is, evolving and like trying to become a better person.
I love that.
Yeah,
Great
that's
answer.
great.
Yeah, fantastic answer.
Thank you.
And thanks for the question. Mr. A, hey Jen, can you explain how Evanescence organized not only the music but the stage show of the Synthesis tour? How did you incorporate the theremin into all of that? Thank you.
Okay, so back to this orchestra tour we did in 2018-19. As we talked about it, and we quickly learned that we're gonna merge with pedal boards into the orchestra. It's kind of like if you try to imagine what's it like. It's like strip down all the heavy rock drums, all the heavy distorted guitars, just take the core of a beautiful song and put a beautiful string arrangement to that song, and then add like weird accelerator sounds. And it was not about like playing the riffs, it was more about like adding cool freaky futuristic sounds. It's kind of like Mozart meets David Guetta, right? And they both just join hands and go to the opera. That's what synthesis felt like for me. And when we talked about this whole concept, I was like, I'm not going to play a lot of guitar, because Troy, our other guitar player, is going to play guitar. Tim, our bass player, is going to play guitar too, because he's a guitar player. And I was like, okay, I have to figure out something that'll keep me busy, inspired, and just mainly busy. And I came up with the theremin. And for those of you who don't know, a theremin is a super old Russian instrument. I think like 90 or maybe 20s or something, 40s. I don't know. And it's literally the only instrument next to an electric laser harp that you can play without physically touching anything. If you want to play the piano, you touch the keys. If you want to play the drums, you touch the sticks. You touch your instrument. But with the theremin, it's literally an instrument that exists of two antennas. One is the pitch antenna. The closer your hand gets to the pitch antenna, the higher the note. And the other one is another antenna that controls the volume. And I just texted Amy. I'm like, hey, what do you think about me learning a theremin for this tour? And she's like, hell yeah. And I said, okay, all right. I'm going to buy one and I'm going to learn how to play the theremin. I gave myself something between 4 and 6 months. And let me just say, learning how to play the theremin is probably the hardest instrument to learn that is out there. There is no physical control. You push a key on the piano, the tone just like appears magically. You push the fret on you push the string down to the fret and you play the string and the tone exists. With the theremin, finding intonation and all these different hand, you have different hand positions, how to play it. It's so hard. And I remember when we did the rehearsals in, I think it was Kansas City. It was a wooden stage and we were sitting in the middle of the orchestra. So I had the string section on my right side. And every single time the viola players would use their bow, and it moved into my theremin. So every single time they played a long note, it was like, woo! It was definitely interesting and inspiring. And I still have it. My theremin. I hardly play it these days, but it's fun, and it's been I like challenges. It was challenging to learn how to play it, and I've loved it. And it was very, very interesting.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I actually didn't know how it worked, to be honest with you. I mean, my exposure to the theremin was, of course, Jimmy Page, right?
Of course.
Right. So, but I never really knew like what it was all about, how you how you got the sounds from it. So that's cool.
Well, you should try to play one.
It's interesting. I have one.
Do you?
You do have one? Do you have one of these old school ones?
No,
or the
Moog
modern
one.
ones?
The modern one, the Moog one.
Right. Those were the ones that I took on tour.
Yeah.
And you have all the presets and stuff. And if you completely ignore all the scale stuff and you completely ignore how do they call it? Like they put it into instead of it's just so hard to play.
Huh. Wow.
I mean, Dave, can you play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on the Theremin?
Hell no. I can't play anything on the Theremin. Don't ask me even why I have it.
Just for noise. Right?
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Come on, it's fun.
Yeah, no. And if you see, there's old footage and old music that was originally composed on Theremins, and if you listen to it, it's some of the most bizarre stuff ever to listen
totally.
to. The skill it actually takes to do it is crazy.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I realized, like, being on stage, I sometimes didn't even breathe, because even when you breathe and your heartbeat moves your hand just a little bit, that changes the notes you're playing. It was really challenging, but interesting. Like I said, I like challenges.
That's cool. Yeah, I commend you for doing that. Jim Coleman, question for Jen. What would she like to see new from Synergy to help her? It's a great question.
Wow. That's it's hard to answer when you're very comfortable and happy with the gear that you use. I mean, they will continue to come out with new preamp modules, which I don't think will be interesting for me, because I'm not looking for anything else, as I'm really happy with the preamp modules that I play and use.
Well, there will be a new BE Deluxe module, which you will have 2 full EQs.
Oh, nice. That is okay. Here we go.
EQs,
yes.
And so you can set on the module. You'll be able to set either channel to a BE or an HBE. And then there's also a saturation switch and some other things. Yeah, that's coming.
Sold.
Oh my God. Okay, this is my next module that I'm gonna play. I'm gonna have 2 modules in one then.
Yes.
Synergy, are you here? Please send it out one to me as soon as it's out. Like, I want one of those. Thank you.
Might be like 6 months from now it'll come out or something.
I have to wait that long, really?
Maybe.
maybe something sooner.
Production to be done with it.
This is a cool question. Adir Lakia, what do you do when you need to go on stage and really feel bad or not feel like playing? Has it ever happened?
I mean, there's different kinds of feeling bad. On this past tour, during the first run, I injured my back, and I was taking a lot of painkillers just to be able to move. And, the show doesn't care. So it's showtime, and you have your guitar and everything. And this is horrible that I'm telling this story. I haven't told this story before, but so I was texting my guitar tech. I'm like, hey, please keep a bucket next to you somewhere in Guitar World stage right, because I feel nauseous from the back pain that I have. What I do in situations like that is, honestly, even if this turns me into like a weird spiritual person, but I like to do breath work, like almost meditational breathing exercises to calm down the body and the mind, whatever it is you need to calm down. And I always think about the fact that only because I don't feel good, whoever came out to see this show doesn't deserve a bad show. When I walk on stage, I'm always like, I want to give not 100, but 110, 120%. I remember back in the days with my AC/DC tribute band, we played a show at a venue that held, like, I don't know, 1,500 people, and it was literally 31 people there. It was horrible. But at the same time, I'm like, it's not the fault of those 31 people that the promoter did a shit job and nobody else showed up. So they deserve a great show. And I always try to, like, put me into that mindset of, like, these people deserve to have a great time, and that's it. like literally
Yeah.
breathing techniques and focusing on the fact that people will have the right to just like have a great time, and it's not their fault that you feel bad.
I've had people tell me some stories of being on tour where the catering gave the whole everyone food poisoning,
Oh, I had that too.
and literally everyone had buckets, and they
No.
had to perform. And this isn't like this was they said the sight of it was unbelievable. There before the shows, the people were just laying on ramps and just
Oh,
barfing over ramps, and like
oh my
it's just like
God.
only some people that didn't eat certain things didn't get it.
Oh shit, man. I was food poisoned, like for real, food poisoned on stage during a tour in 2014. And what makes me really proud, I was puking behind my stupid amp while I was playing. I didn't even stop playing. Talk of next level of badassery.
That's hardcore right there.
There you go.
Yeah, but you know, things like that happen, and like it's not the audience's fault that whether you injured your back or the catering sucked. So you know.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. That's good philosophy. Jordan Will, Jen, while recording your solo stuff or with a band, do you prefer to run direct through your Helix or whatever effects pedals, or do you prefer to mic your tube amps for power, warm sound?
It has to do, well, you asked specifically about the solo stuff. For my solo stuff, I am a firm believer in mic your cab, put the cab in a good situation, you know, in a room with isolation, and try out different, you know, scenarios and positions and all that. I'm very, very nerdy when it comes to that. With Evanescence, it was different. With Evanescence, we picked out what suits best for the song, because our new album, The Bitter Truth, has so many different styles in it. It's like, you know, there's the super low, heavy rock sound, and then there's another song that is like synth sounds and very poppy, and we literally been going to like from song to song to decide what fits best to the song itself.
Yeah.
For my solo stuff, man, dude, I'm old school. I like a mic or several mics in front of a cab and mic my amp. And I like to twist stuff, and you know, even change, like you change pickups when you double and you play the same track again, or and yeah. So I'm definitely old school.
Cool. So I got a little rabbit hole to go down with you then. So,
Oh, no.
so what mics are you using?
Okay, this is a question for my friend Martin Buchwalter, who has been recording all of my albums that I've ever recorded, solo albums and with the AC/DC band and former stuff. And so it's literally his studio. I know that we use a lot of Neumann, and I think of course, like everywhere else in SM58, I guess. It's everywhere.
7, yeah.
Right? It's 57, 58, whatever. And I don't know. I can't answer this question. I'm sorry.
And then what about pickups? What are some of your favorite pickups that you use?
Okay, I use Fishman pickups because also something that changed when I entered Evanescence. I had a beautiful 7-string. No, it was a baritone guitar, and we have this song called "Going Under," and the riff is gong 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 gong, silence, gong 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 gong, silence. And you know, when you play certain aggressive, I don't want to name them, but aggressive, very high output pickups, you get gong 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 zzz, gong 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 zzz.
Right.
And I was like, this is not working. This is not working. And so I talked to the Fishman guys, and they gave me, you know, they gave me a tour at their factory, and I looked at all the stuff that they do. And it's fascinating, like the 3D layer printing of pickups. It's fascinating, and it's completely hum-free. I said, okay, I'll give it a try just to see if it works. You know, I heard about it. It was great. And I heard from my friend Olaf from it. He literally gave me the contact. And yep, fell in love with it and equipped all my guitars with Fishman Fluence pickups. And I am very happy with that. On my jam floral pattern one, though, I have worked with a friend of mine. His name is Ed Heisler. He does this phenomenal thing, and I still have a super hard time to explain what it actually does. He has this company called Mad Hatter Guitar Products. He's based in Phoenix, Arizona, and to make a long story short, he turned my 5-way switch into a 10-way switch. There's a push-pull option, and it makes like every pickup sound even more like it is supposed to sound. It's like a little booster. It's like a little mid booster. It's like a little softener. It's like a little crispy upper. I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't matter when you play high gain stuff, because all the high gain just kills everything like that. But for, like I said again, like my solo stuff, it was really, really beautiful to have all these options, and I plan on it, like working more with Ed in the future on more guitars. We'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. We got a super chat from Iker. Is it Ilker? Ilker. Guliner. Thanks for the super chat, man. Will you do a solo tour and plan to come to Turkey?
I would love to come back to Turkey, man. I love this country, and it's the last time we've been there. Oh, it's such good food. I'm a foodie. I'm sorry. Well, solo tour, we'll see about that. First of all, I feel like if I would now start touring on my second solo album, Insanity, it would feel weird. 4 years after the release,
Right.
Let me first write new music and come up with a third solo album, and then we'll talk again.
Cool. So when you work on your solo stuff, do you collaborate with anybody, or is it all solo, just you?
Oh, well, for the writing process, most of the time I am comfortable with writing alone because I am the control freak that I am. But at the same time, when I'm in the studio and I get a physical human flesh and blood drummer, I'm like, well, show me what you got. Like, go even crazier. Come on, show me how crazy you can be. And for like I have on Insanity, I had guest solo spots of Alex Skolnick, Jeff Waters, Matthias Eklund. A lot of friends joined that album, and I didn't do that to have the option of name dropping. Like, hey, I buy this big name, and then my album's gonna be. I hate shit like that. I fucking hate it. No, honestly, I was worried about.
I just love you.
I was just worried that people would think of me that way, like, wow, look, she's got all these great players on her album. She does that just to reach more attention, but the truth is really, these are my friends. I'm just lucky enough to call these awesome, talented players my friends, and I've already talked for future collaborations. I think maybe Guthrie's going to be up for one solo, and Ron Bumblefoot, he was like, well, I'm going to play one solo. And I'm like, cool. Now I just got to write the songs.
Right. That's the hard part, right?
Although I wrote one song in 2020 or 2021. I don't remember. I think 2020.
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
It is, right? It is crazy. Yeah. And the thing is, when your life consists of sitting on a couch, what are you going to write about? Everybody's like, now you got all this time on your hands. Did you write 2, 3, 4 new albums? I'm like, no, I haven't even written a single thing, because what am I supposed to write about? Like the couch blues? Nothing is happening in my life because the world is on pause.
Yeah.
So I wrote one song, and it's called Testicles. It's a cool song. So this is the first song for my new album. I wrote one song, and now let's see if inspiration hits me back, and I'm gonna go like, oh yeah, I'll write.
What inspired the testicle song?
Okay, first time me ever talking about this. No. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I was completely obsessed at that time with Devin Townsend's podcast. Devin is a friend of mine, and he decided to put out this podcast, and I was pushing it. I'm like, no, I'm not listening. I know Devin. I need time to listen to this. I can't listen just 10 minutes and then pause and just. So I waited for months until I started listening to his podcast, and it's fantastic. Like his podcast talking about all the experience, how his recording the albums over the years and decades was. It's just so good. It's so good. And there's so much that I can relate to. So nevertheless, I was listening to a lot of Devin Townsend the Devin Townsend podcast. And I truly believe this has something to do with the song. I was teaching in my music school. I was driving back home in the evening, and it was dark. It was night. And I looked to the trees on the side of the street, and they had rainbow colors. And I was like, okay, this is it. I lose my mind. I'm going insane. This is it. It's over. I'm losing my mind. And so that literally inspired the song. Okay, this is a stupid explanation why it's called Testicle. Okay, I have to tell you the lyric of the chorus. Let me live inside your testicles to recreate my existence. Let me crawl back to your uterus and define me new. There.
Okay.
So that's the song.
That makes sense.
Inspired by Devin Townsend. And I actually sent him a text. I was like, hey, Devin, I wrote a song called Testicles inspired by you.
All right, was he flattered or insulted?
No, he never got back to me about that.
That's funny.
But he was part of the beautiful Christmas video, and everybody let me know that I'm not alone. And so, I feel like he's not mad at me, or maybe he thinks I'm a nutcase, but that's fine. It's Devin. He's allowed to.
Yes. Eric Johnson. Not the Eric Johnson, but
I was just like, what?
Yeah. Thoughts on the blue floral gem versus the Pia?
Yeah. I thought they must sound similar because it's Steve Vai guitars, right? When I saw the pickups of the Pia, I'm like, okay, this is gonna harm the way the sound is being translated through the body and everything, because they got all these beautiful like little almost Gucci looking or whatever designer looking covers on the pickups, and I was again skeptical. I'm a big skeptic person. I always raise my skeptical eyebrow. I'm like, really? Prove me wrong, But honestly, the sound is surprisingly transparent, and like I said, I checked it out, and it definitely has a higher output than the floor pattern one. I thought it would be the opposite. I thought it would be less output, less, hot, but it was super hot, and it has definitely a signature sound to itself. But I can't even say what I like better, because like I said, the Jam is equipped with the Mad Hatter guitar product, Terminator kill switch thing.
Right.
And my Pia I like it, but it's not as inspiring as the Jam floor pattern for me personally. And also playing wise, like handling when you play it, I know I have to work on that, but when you play with a guitar pick and your guitar pick gets stuck in between the strings because of the pickup coverage, it's like, I just have to learn how to become a better technical player, I guess. Maybe the Pia is perfect for that. I don't know.
That's cool. Kenneth Davis, how did the reunion between you and Cookie go?
Not yet. You guys have no clue who Cookie is, huh?
No clue.
No idea.
I assume maybe it might be a pet, I assume.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have, due to pandemic situations and sitting at home and losing my mind and writing songs like Testicle, I thought, hey, why don't you get yourself a pet? And I bought a beautiful little blue turquoise yellow budgie and named him Cookie. Cookie is talking a lot. Cookie can say things like, I eat cupcakes and crunchy cheese cracker. Evanescence is the shit. And stuff like that. He's amazing.
Oh my
and
God.
As of right now, he's still with my parents. I'm going to see my parents tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
So tomorrow I'm going to reunite with Cookie. Finally, I missed that little fluff ball like crazy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Maybe they'll have some new things to say.
Oh, actually, Cookie made he's on a record. So I have this friend of mine called Chris Clairhout, who is a promoter in Southeast Asia, and he sent me an email, asked me if I would be interested in joining for one song. So what he did was like taking a lot of electronical programming, and he sent the single stems over to the artist, and you could like edit and cut and copy paste and make your own song out of his programming. And on the album, which is honestly one of the main reasons why I also said I have to do this, is Ron Bumblefootall, Guthrie Govan, Jack Gardiner, Matthias Eklo, and Per Nilsson. You know, the list is endless. And I'm like, I want to be the only female guitar player on that album. And then I thought, well, why not include Cookie? So Cookie's on that album too. And he says in a little break, I programmed this break, and Cookie goes like, chicken wing.
Right in the break.
Yep.
That's funny.
Chicken wing.
I wanted to ask you also, speakers.
Mm-hmm.
What speakers do you use?
Honestly, I do not know what I use on stage with Evanescence, because I hardly see my gear with Evanescence. That's something that is really, really weird.
Is it Synergy cabs?
I was going to say, is a Synergy cab? It's
Synergy cabs, yeah, but I don't know what the speakers are inside of the.
Because for 30s then.
Yeah, but they're kind of like combined. They're not 4x12, four of the same type of speakers, I think.
Oh, then it's greenbacks and
it's definitely greenbacks.
Greenbacks and vintage 30s.
I think so. That because I remember back in the days when I had the meeting with the Synergy guys, I remember like we checked out different cab versions and stuff, and I remember this one cab and the same preamp module, the Friedman, and I was like, wow, this sounds like really different through this cab. Like, why is it so much more warmer and like thicker? And then he said, well, this is the combination of like vintage 30.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, it's basically, it's my cab, basically.
Yeah.
Actually, it is my cab.
I love it.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice combo of the V30.
The only thing is, like I said, I don't know if we use this for Evanescence, because I wasn't involved in the shipping, and ordering the whole thing for the Evanescence tour. So I hardly see my gear, and I don't know. But for me at home, I definitely have a 4x12 and a 2x12, and it's vintage 30s and greenback.
I meant to ask you also earlier, what's the process of writing with Evanescence?
This answer might be very disappointing for you, but it's literally jamming out together in a room like a rock band.
Great.
That is perfect. That's the perfect answer. Yeah.
I know. It's people always expect Amy to be like the super boss and the queen of everything, and she decides it. And she is, and I say that with a lot of love and respect. But it's the original idea of writing as a band is you jam together, you hang out in a room, everybody is joining ideas. One starts an idea, everybody else joins. You figure out, hey, that's cool. Let's try to do this, try to do that. That is pretty much how the writing session in Canada went. That was in 2019. And then we gathered in, was it 2020? I think it was 2020. Oh my God, such a big blur. We gathered in Nashville and recorded the first 4 chunks of songs for the new album. And we all just sat in the room, and Nick, our producer, who also worked with Foo Fighters and Tool and Rush, and oh my God, everybody. He was there with his drumsticks, and he was listening to us and dancing with his drumsticks. And whenever he, picked out something that was cool by one of the band members, he's like, yeah, give me more of that. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go. And so you just play, and the communication through your instruments with the band members is just like creating the songs. And of course, then I flew back to Europe, and everybody's like, yada yada, party party, see you next month. All right, yeah, as if. Then this shit happened, and I was stuck in Europe for 2 years, and there was no chance to get me back to the studio, to literally be physically in the studio with Amy and the guys in Nashville. So they worked on the songs, sent me the music, and I added what I felt was right and demanded by the song or the production, and that was it, which was super tough for me and at the same time beautiful, because that was my only way to connect with my friends. I just missed my friends. It's not a job, it's my friends that are on the other side of the planet, and I'm here and I can't see them and I can't join them. And so music was literally the one thing that kept me together with them.
That's great. Yeah, and sorry to hear that. I'm glad you were able to collaborate with them and take your mind off of some of the craziness that was going on. We also have a super chat that I missed from Arthur Gonzalez. Jen, is there an artist you want to collaborate with? Is there any ground you haven't covered?
What am I going to say now? I mean, okay, the 1 minute jams make it really, really hard to say that everybody was on that series on YouTube. Please check it out if you haven't. Go to my YouTube channel, check out the 1 minute jams. It's fun to watch. Whenever I'm in a bad mood and I'm sad, I just go watch that playlist and I'm happy again. I have to say Nuno Bettencourt now, right?
There you go. You have to say.
There you go.
That's cool. We'd like to get Nuno on the show too. If you have any pull in that way too. Let me
he
know.
hardly speaks to me. He just agreed to go on a dinner with me, but can't answer my text messages. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Rolla Jabber, question for Jen.
Yes.
What's your favorite song to play live during the tour? This tour.
Another question that I love. It changed from day to day, to be honest. So we did these meet and greets where people were sitting in like the small group of people, of meet and greet people, and we did like a press conference thing, because of course the hugging and the picture with the band was not possible in times of COVID. And a lot of people asked this question, like, what's your favorite song to perform live? And I really have to say it changes from day to day. So sometimes I would be like, I'm looking forward to play the first track, which was Broken Piece of Shine, the opening track. But then I'm like, I'm looking forward to the last song. So for me personally, I think the song Broken Piece of Shine was one of the most emotional ones, because I know what the song is about and how it started and how it developed. So Broken Piece of Shine is definitely a very, very important song for me to play live and sing. And also, this is something like I'm very proud that on the new Evanescence album, I am also listed as a background vocalist, because this is the first Evanescence album with other female vocals than Amy's on it. Yeah. And I do a lot of singing, and which is also surprising because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people know, yeah, Jen Majura, the metal guitar player. Yeah, but I'm singing as well.
And I have to admit, I haven't heard your solo albums. Do you sing on the solo albums as well?
You did not? I'm leaving this chat right now. I'm so disappointed.
Just smack me.
Who's there? Who's there in the back?
Dave,
who are you?
That's John.
His coworker.
Hi, John. Hi.
Yeah, Dave has to go to work too.
I sang on my solo album, both of them.
Oh, cool.
And Insanity, I released Insanity in 2017, and it literally became it's everything that I wanted my solo album to be like. It's honest. It's there's, when you do release an album and you listen back to it, most of the time, first of all, you're sick of listening to it because you did all the mixes. You listen to this music like forever, for hours. So I never had this moment of being sick of my music, first of all. And when I listen back by now, there's not this one moment where I would be like, oh, I could have done better. Every musician has that. When they listen back to their music, their song release, their EP, their album, whatever, you have this one moment where you're like, and only the fans don't know, but you could have done better. I don't have this with my album, and I couldn't be prouder of
That's
Insanity.
Great.
I'm really happy. It's exactly the way that I wanted it to be.
Fantastic.
Cool. Yeah. We've got a few more questions. I know Dave has to roll because he's got to get to work and work on some amps.
Yeah, you better get that module ready, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Actually, that is something I got to work on.
Maddie Mulcahy, how does Evanescence divide the dressing rooms? Do you all mingle before the show or take time alone to get into the zone?
We have 2 dressing rooms. One is for Amy, not because she's a diva, but mainly because the guys were like, "Ah, your vocal warm-ups." So we have 2 dressing rooms. There's the band dressing room and there's Amy's dressing room. I am a mixture of both dressing rooms, I guess, because you have to change and get ready and do your makeup and stuff. And I feel weird when somebody's like shooting hoops next to me. And so, we have 2 dressing rooms, Amy and the band, and I'm in both.
Gotcha.
Got it.
That's cool. So Arthur Gonzalez, I got your question. So thank you also. Just trying to see if there's any other questions that I missed. Because I know
something just came in from Rummy.
Oh, okay.
Super chat.
I see it. Yeah. What diplomatic and communication skills are key when being a side player in a band?
Always show up prepared, learn fast, adjust fast, and try to be helpful instead of depressing. It sounds weird, but like you have to have a certain attitude, and nobody wants to work with an asshole. So
Right.
just be human, be humble,
Be cool.
Yeah, it's just nobody wants to work with an asshole. It's as easy as that. And whenever
cool, know your place.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
That's important too.
Know your place.
Exactly.
And that situation is different in every scenario. So it's
Yes.
there's different how far you know your place.
Exactly.
It's like when I've worked with artists over the years, it's like you have, when I was working with Eddie Van Halen for years, it's like your place. He doesn't want to be told what you think. He wants to tell you what he wants.
Exactly. Yeah, but you're totally right. I agree 100%. Know your place. Exactly.
Yeah.
And just show up as a supportive, humble human being instead of the big asshole rock star. Nobody wants that.
Right.
And always be aware of the fact there's 200 guys that want to get your job.
That's true too. Like Pete Thorne says, be a good hang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So I know we got to wrap up because Dave's got to roll. Do you, Dave? You still got to? Okay.
Do you? I love how you ask.
All right. I just wanted to make sure. So guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button for us, please. And also check out Sweetwater. Check out Jen and her solo stuff. Check her out on YouTube and check her out in Evanescence. And I can't thank you enough, Jen, getting to know you.
Jen.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you. Maybe we can do a part 2 one day.
Absolutely.
Next time you're in LA, please look me up.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot you a text. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Our next guest is Dave Navarro, February 11th. And so looking forward to that. And check us out on Twitter, Facebook, all that other crap. And we'll see you soon. All right. Take care, everybody. Jen, hang on 1 second while we say goodbye. Okay.